body is the first cage, and the mind is the second, and we build the bars out from there.
We're talking all night, callers. The lines are open.
Bargaining begins, doesn't it? Promises and secrets offered under your breath. These are your desperate hours.
Callers, the lines are open.
Maybe 200 billion stars in each of the 140 billion galaxies in the known universe.
And so we return here again, you and I, talking all night as we sleepwalk across the plaza, asking the questions most central to your life. Is this real, or is this a dream? Here in the half-light between what is conscious and unconscious, we're all sleepwalkers, insomniacs and seekers, and lovers and losers, sweeping along the shiny midnight streets under the promise of street lamps, wandering, looking for meaning in the windows of a sleepwalk plaza. We return here, we always return here, as if this was the starting point for all our questions. We return here because we found not what we sought in life's daily commute. We found not what we sought along the monotonous roads, the oppressive highways of life's routine. We found not what we were promised, the experience not what we had imagined it would be in our innocence all those years ago. And following the traffic jams and desperation of your travels, you return here so that you might ask, is there no meaning then? Is there no grail, no purpose to all of this? Is there a maker, a grand puppeteer, a shaker of dice? Or must we command ourselves? Are we the architects? And if so, what exactly is the plan? Where are the drawings, the maps, the directions? You know, science can't even prove reality. We're stuck between two incompatible worlds. First, the world of the large, the physical world we can see, like rocks and trees and humans, the planets and stars, all governed by the laws of general relativity, the standard model of physics. And then there's the world of the very small, the subatomic world. It behaves by the very different and even spooky laws of quantum physics. The latest theories of science suggest that the only way to reconcile these two worlds is to agree that space-time is just an illusion. It's the only way to get the math right. It would appear that our physical reality is in effect just a conjury of our consciousness, an illusion we've learned so that we can navigate our way more simply through a strange and complex existence. And so all of our searching is as if we've been knocking at a door, seeking entry into a place to which we've already been admitted. What if our sleepwalker eyes are too blurry to see the deeper layers of reality, too easily fooled by our visual illusions to witness the infinite multitude of conscious agents across a multitude of universes? You see what I'm saying? People, do you see what I'm saying? What if the human search for meaning has been knocking at a door all these years from the inside? Well, I've said too much and I know too little to attempt to explain these unexplainable things. So, callers, the lines are open. We're talking all night. I'll be back in just a moment to take your calls.
Nothing's been something waiting for the right to end, cultivating every hour we spend, chasing another chance around. Nothing's been something
We're talking all night. Yes, life in spin. That song's going out to our next caller. Martin, you're on the air.
Okay, I'm glad I got through. You were saying it feels like a spooky night.
Yeah, like we're all sleepwalkers in each other's dream.
It's the way I feel exactly.
Well, what's happening?
Well, I'm retired. I needed some extra cash, so I'm working down at the carnival. I'm on security, the overnight shift. We've been closed down since midnight. It's 2 in the morning or so. It's a ghost town here. All the operators and staff have gone home. And then I see this little kid, about 7 or 8 years old. He's sitting on one of the carousel horses, just staring up at the lights.
In the middle of the night? He's got no parents with him?
No, there was no one with him. He was just sitting there looking into the lights, just staring into space, really. And then he turns his head and looks straight at me. So I walk over to him and ask him what he was doing there, if he was lost. He doesn't answer. And instead he asked me if we can ride the carousel, whether I could start it up for him and make it go round. So I got up on one of the plastic horses beside him and explained that we'd shut down hours ago. He looks off into the lights again and then looks directly at me and says, well, he started telling me stories, fantastic stories that were unusual coming from someone so young. But as he spoke, these stories seemed familiar somehow. Stories about the beginning of the universe, the evolution of species, the discovery of fire, the emergence of civilizations, cooperation, and even war. He spoke well beyond his years, his eyes fixing on me, looking for a response or some deeper connection, like a spirit possessed or something. And then eventually his speech slowed and he paused. He looked at me and out at the light again. And then out of the blue, do you know what he asked me? The weirdest question. From a 7-year-old anyways. He asked me, are you happy? Can you imagine that from a little kid? Are you happy? He wanted to know if I'd grown up to be the person I thought I would be when I was his age. Well, I stumbled and made up some superficial answer, I guess. But he wasn't having any of it, and he asked me again, are you happy? And I was all of a sudden just overcome with so many regrets, you know. Regrets about my life. I've always told myself I'd have no regrets. But there on that damn plastic horse in front of this little kid, I'm searching to remember the dreams I must have had at his age. I could see his eyes welling up a little and I felt tears in mine, so I just looked away. But his eyes stayed locked on me, and then all of a sudden he asked me if I knew anything about, ants. Yeah, about ants and whales. He started telling me these stories about ants and whales. He said that there are Arctic ants who, in the ultimate sacrifice to help the colony cross over streams, will join themselves end to end to form a bridge so others can cross safely over the water. He said these tiny ants display the greatest of all traits, that in their sacrifice for others, they seek and discover in the very same instant the meaning for their being. And then, without a breath, he said that there are whales who will ponder their existence without any doubt or confusion in the great expanse of oceans during lifetimes lasting as long as 200 years. One day, for reasons unknown, will beach themselves on the weathering sand of the coast, never to return to the sea. And then the tears started welling up in his eyes again. I'm still getting choked up about it, thinking about it here. There were tears welling up in his eyes like he had seen everything, all 7 oceans, like he had swam the depths of each one, like he had seen everything from the beginning, the accumulation of all tears that fill the oceans, because the promise of existence for each of us is only that it ends. And this kid was telling me that our promise to existence is to fill in. This kid wanted to know if I'd got it right in the time since I was 7 years old. If I had got the in-between of my life right.
Yes, that's the question. Ultimately, we're going to judge our lives by how we fill in the in-between stuff of our existence, in between birth and death. So, what did you answer?
Well, I didn't know how to answer that. As we got off the carousel, I just felt like I didn't know anything anymore. I didn't know where I'd come from or where I was going. I felt this overwhelming sense of disappointment, you know? A sense of missed opportunity. And then a feeling of hopelessness for humanity and me too. I mean, the world's always been a troubled place in the universe, right? Hate and war, injustice, and unmet needs of all kinds. Because love is just too hard a system for mortals. But now it's different. It's deeper. I can't really explain it. Hope feels so much more irretrievable now. More hopeless. Is that just me?
Well, I think we're all feeling some of that right now, Martin. The human psyche is haunted by our inability to just get it right. You know what I mean? Human evolution is still on a long, slow arc.
Yeah, well, you know, when I looked in that little kid's eyes, I wondered how I'd lost such faith and hope. That we can do better than this. You know, I was about to tell a 7-year-old that it's all downhill from here. But to look at his innocent face so familiar somehow, I just couldn't. I mean, youth is hope, right? That's their gift. I couldn't take that away from him. But what happened to hope in my life? I mean, what happened to my opportunities? I'm 72, scraping by and working security in a touring carnival.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. I'm with you. Just 2 guys on the overnight shift, right? So, what happened to the kid?
Well, after that, I had no idea how much time had passed. I felt like I'd been talking to this kid for an eternity. He reaches up, and while he puts something in my jacket pocket, he says, "It's up to you now." Up to me, I said. I don't know what he's talking about. And the kid says it again. He says, "It's up to you to figure out how life will turn out for us." For us? I don't even know this kid. And he says, "Yeah, for you and me." And then he turns and he walks back towards the carousel and he says, "You've got promises to keep, Martin." How did he know my name? I called after him, "What's your name?" And he says, "Same as yours, of course." As he's walking back towards the carousel, I reach into my pocket to see what he had slipped in there. And I suddenly realized why he looked so familiar. It was an old school picture, very old. It was the kid. He's standing beside my grade 3 teacher. And when I looked up, the kid had disappeared into the lights of the carnival. And then, the carousel starts up. It starts going round. I swear, it started to spin full throttle. And there were no staff, operators or maintenance workers, nobody here. It's 2 a.m., it's the middle of the night. Everyone's gone. Just me. My life. In spin.